I think teaching is probably the most important job or career that anyone could have because you're inspiring other people to learn. And when they learn, hopefully to better themselves and to better the society and just have a more positive impact. So I think I chose teaching. I could have done a lot of different things because of that
Yeah.
main reason. So.
Yeah. Your background is what again? If you'll tell us a little bit about how you even got here and.
Okay, yeah, kind of a longer story, but
Yeah.
I think hopefully it's somewhat interesting. I was heavily involved in sports in high school and eventually in college, and
Meaning you played or
I played.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I came from a small town in Butte, Montana, and my junior year I blew out my shoulder, rotator cuff, and
No.
everything, and it made the paper, and
Because you were that good.
well, I was okay. And so anyway, my former grade school principal contacted me and said, I'm sorry to hear that you're injured. Would you be interested in coaching our grade school boys basketball team? And so I said, yeah, I'm in a sling. I can't do much else. So I did, and I loved it. And so then I had a chance to coach the girls. And so I liked that. And then I kept coaching the girls in softball in that summer. And even after my senior year, and I continued to play, then I went to college and continued coaching even while I played in college, and found, wow, I like this. And so I graduated from college with a bachelor's degree in computer science and bachelor's degree in math, and I went off to be a software engineer.
And that was that.
And here I am, I'm coding, and I'm basically almost talking to myself because I'm just typing away and talking to a computer all day long. And I thought, I don't really know if I want to do this for the rest of my life. What do I want to do and what do I like to do? And I thought, I really like that coaching. So I decided to go back to school, get my teaching degree, and have an emphasis on math, computer science, and athletic coaching. And so I did that, and then I got hired as a teacher, and my first year of teaching was in California. And being a small town boy from Montana, that was just a little too big of a culture shock for me. So I moved back up. My parents said, why don't you come halfway? And Salt Lake's a lot smaller than LA and a lot bigger than Butte. You'll find a job. And that's what I did. And I ended up at Hillcrest High in Midvale and taught there for quite a while, but enjoyed teaching and coaching. And that's how I got into it.
Do you recall any of the experiences you had that were meaningful? I know that's kind of a hard ask right out the gates, but an experience where you're just like, this one is one to take away that I remember from either the middle school or now?
I think with middle school, the only year I taught middle school was in California. And a memorable thing for me that I always will remember is the kids approaching me and say, Mr. Puich, we always had a science fair. What if we had a math fair? And it was interesting for me because it showed motivation and showed a lot of passion by the kids. They wanted to do more than just solve problems. And so we had a math fair, and it ended up growing. And I'm gone, but that math fair has gone through the entire Garden Grove School District now.
Wow.
And so that was really inspirational to me. So
That is cool.
I like that. Yeah. And then, here, I had a chance. I was at Hillcrest teaching computer science, and there wasn't much computer science in the Jordan district at the time. And so they asked me, do you want to move over to the tech center and start the computer science program? And then you could teach kids from all the schools. And so it was hard for me to leave Hillcrest because I loved it there. But to have a new opportunity, and open the door again for more kids, I was willing to do that. And so I can remember that. And I remember then eventually I was having kids from Stansbury and Tooele coming into the program, even though they weren't in the Jordan district, because there wasn't much computer science being taught anywhere. So.
Wow. How have those experiences, like that one that you said that was student motivated, how do those impact you day to day, and how do you keep that fire going, or how do you keep the steam going to teach?
Well, that is the steam. I mean, honestly, you do this because the light bulbs, you see the light bulbs come on. I was fortunate enough to teach at the college level for 10 or 12 years, and you don't quite see the same thing. I think the kids there, they're paying money, they expect it, they demand it, and yet the high school kids, when they're able to accomplish something or solve a problem, especially on their own, and you see them get excited, that's payday for me. That's the main reason why I stay. It's just so fun to work with the kids and see that happen.
Yeah, that's got to be so rewarding, especially in what you're doing, because just this last year when we went to Chicago, Atlanta, with some of the students that have been in your class, I mean, I'm not trying to polish you up, but they rave about you and the stuff that they're learning in there. So what a little bit about your accolades. You have the doctor in front of your name. It's what type of degrees do you have, and what type of...
So I've got the bachelor's degree, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and Bachelor of Science in Math. Then I've got a bachelor's in secondary education with emphasis on math and sports education and coaching. And then the master's in computer science, and then the doctorate in computer science.
From Stanford?
Stanford.
Wow. Do kids come here just to take your class? Come to Harriman, do you know?
They do, because again, most of the high schools in our district don't have a lot of it. Now the kids could go to the Jordan Tech Center as well, but I have kids from the last few years from Riverton, Bingham, and Mountain Ridge come. So.
Oh. It's certainly more local here for the Harriman kids. Is a great program. How long have you been here again at Harriman?
This is my 7th year here.
7th year. And are they 11 years? Or is Harriman 11 or 12?
This is the 11th, I think.
Yeah. So you were kind of towards the beginning, but how has it changed? How has teaching changed over the years? And
from when I started?
From when you started to now.
Well, as I said, the first year I taught was middle school, and it was math. And then when I came to Hillcrest, I had a chance to begin the computer science program there, and I had Apple IIe's and no network, and we were using Pascal as the programming language and so forth. And and most kids coming into the class had no idea what it was. They barely had calculators then. So I think the kids have changed. The process of how we teach kids has changed, and technology, of course, has changed. And for me, going from that to what I have now, where I've got dual monitors and the high-end computers and teach multiple computer languages, that's the technology change. But the kids have changed. Before, they didn't know much about technology. Okay, now the kids are very savvy. Most of them have their own cell phones, their own computers, their own laptops, etc. So they know a lot about technology. So that piece has changed. In teaching, the biggest issue I see is that technology is a two-edged sword. They have it, but they use it sometimes where it becomes a crutch for their own learning. And so my emphasis as a teacher in my class is, hey, when you leave at the semester or the end of the year, if you've never coded or you can't code, that's okay if you've learned the soft skills and you've learned to problem solve. Because problem solving is the key to having a successful career in anything. And so I really try to emphasize problem solving, and that in anything is important. But when you're learning computer science, especially computer programming, you have to learn to be organized and break down and understand the problem to be able to solve it. So a lot of emphasis in my teaching goes into that. And I think that's a big change, especially with the kids now. The kids, when I first started, their problem solving skills were a little better because they had to use this more than the tool.
Technology,
And so that's something that's quite different now, I think.
Yeah. Huh. What makes the job rewarding still? Is it just the light bulb moments, or are there still is there something else that's rewarding in the job?
Well, I think the light bulb moments are the biggest thing, but I enjoy coming and learning from the kids. The kids will show up and they can do things, and they want to show off things that they've done or want to do. And I'll say, okay, go research that. And they'll come back and they can show me. And so I'm learning from them as much as they learn from me in many cases. So that is really rewarding.
Yeah. Why should students and parents pick Harriman versus any other choices they may have?
Okay. Well, first of all, I think it's a great community out here. And I think the teachers and staff are very caring and want to work with kids and want to help every kid as a kid. I've been at schools where you might hear the terminology of I teach a class instead of kids. Well, I think here the emphasis is that we teach kids, not classes. And I think that's a big thing. And then, we have a diverse curricula as well. So if kids want computer science, we have a full pathway. If kids want business, we have a great business program. Kids want science or different maths, we have all levels of all of those. So it almost caters to every interest group that a child wants or a parent desires for their child, and I think that holds really well for our school.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. What do you like most about teaching?
The kids.
Kids still, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, if I didn't have meetings, if I didn't have to deal with a lot of the bureaucracy, it'd be a lot better, but that's part of any job, honestly.
Sure.
So, but being able to share what I know or what I'd like them to know is really rewarding to me, and that's why I've stayed in it for 34 years.
Awesome. Okay, one last one, and I know this is kind of a little set you up to say something nice, and we'll edit this part out. But what good things, if any, about Todd Kornberg and admin would you say? How are they doing a good job? What are they doing that's right?
Okay, so many years ago, I had an opportunity when I was at Hillcrest from a vice principal. He nominated me to get a full ride scholarship to become an administrator. And I started to ask questions. And the one question I asked is, why would I want to? And another administrator said, it's a tough job because it's very difficult to make anybody happy because you're either dealing with unhappy kids, unhappy parents, unhappy district, or unhappy teachers,
or all four,
or at the same time. And I so that kind of set me away. And then when I went off to college, I eventually became a provost of a university.
That's right.
I was an administrator, so I did realize that. So I know what they are up against on a daily basis. But here, the administration we have, especially with our principal, they care about the kids, and they'll do everything and anything they can to support Harriman High and the kids. And sometimes that might go against district or state philosophy, but if it's for the kids, to me that's more important. And they will bend over backwards for not only the kids, but for us as well. They really care about us, I think, as teachers and people.
Yeah, I think so too.
I've been at schools where the administrators don't even know every teacher's name. Wow. And so that's rough. And, we're always getting turnover, and those newer administrators that come in that came from another school, they learn your names and they know all about you within a couple of months. And so then it's amazing that they start to know all of the thousands of kids we have. And so I can't say enough about our administration.
I like that. I like that a lot. You bring your kid here. Is that a stamp of approval, or is that out of? And you don't have to answer. Is it because it's easier to bring him here, or do you elect for him to come because it's a good choice, or?
Yeah.
Am I putting words in your mouth?
No, I want him to come. I think Harriman's a good high school. And I've taught at 3 high schools now in Salt Lake County. And I feel like Harriman can meet the needs for him. And he's going to enjoy his time here. And he can pick a lot of different subjects and go in a lot of different directions, which will kind of set him up then for maybe I decide I want to be a vet, or maybe I want to be an engineer, maybe I want to be a software engineer. He can take enough of those classes here to be able to start to make those decisions so he doesn't waste a year of college. Yeah. And that's what
kind
I
of
really
rule some things out maybe and try a few
narrow
things.
it down.
Yeah.
And again, where I go back and I talk about our teachers, Zach's going to be very comfortable here under our teachers. So it's a good school.
I love that because when I was a senior, I think I made a quilted blanket, and now here I am teaching seniors graphic design and video production and programming that you teach. Like, these are big programs compared to what I went through at this
Yeah.
age. So
No, he's very excited. He wants to get into the business department because I've always talk up your business department,
thank you.
and he wants to do the science, and
I
so
love that.
he's pretty excited to be here.
Well, with that, I think that's all we need. I mean, I'm really just grabbing snippets of text, so